Welcome to Bleav in Chargers, part of the Bleav Network with Lorenzo Neal, the great Lorenzo Neal, as they honor legends at SoFi every single game this year. He already had his moment in the spotlight, in the sun. Great to see Mr. Miller out there. Anthony Miller, when was it? Yesterday, as a matter of fact. So it's always fun as they get the legends out there. Antonio Gates was out there yesterday, walking around. A damn shame that he was not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He did advance. So I suspect that he's going to better get in this year, but always great to have the people around and great to be here with you, especially coming off a big victory yesterday.
Huge victory. And it's great. You know, Antonio Gates, no question, should be a first ballot Hall of Fame, should have been. And know that campaign is going to work out well for him. Anthony Miller, great friend, great guy. Love the guy as a receiver, still pretty yacked and still pretty big. Yeah. He stays in great shape, right? So it was just good. And it was just good to see the Chargers get a win and just kind of turn this thing around. The fans are great. Place was rocking. And just to see them put together a win, and hopefully it can lead to another, and just get a string of these things going, because, you know, it's hard to win in the National Football League, and they found a way to get it done yesterday.
Yeah, they found a way to fall behind 2-0 and then lead 3-2. And then at the half, it's 9-5. Dolly Parton starts playing. I mentioned that sadly we lost Dabney Coleman earlier this year. I think wildly underrated. And DJ, it's like, wait, Dabney Coleman doesn't sing this song. It's Dolly Parton. It's like, what are you talking about? It's like Dabney Coleman, 9-5. Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, Dolly Parton. He's like, what are you talking about? It's like, you have no idea this is a movie. This is a song. It's a theme song from a movie. Like, it's not, she didn't just write 9-5. Like, he's like, no, I had no idea. I'm like, you ain't that young, man. I'm sorry. You don't get to do that to me. It's like, you are not that young. I am sorry. You do not get to do that. But so 9-5 at the half. First time since 1975 we've had that halftime score, just to kind of put that into perspective. And they end up winning 26-8, only the third time in NFL history that's been a final score, just to kind of talk about how wonky it was out there. But I bring that up as the setup, Lo, and a quick reminder before I ask you, you know, what ignited this thing, that basketball fans, it is that time of year again. The NBA is back. Opening tip-off, buzzer beaters. Speaking of a buzzer beater, how about the one in D.C. against the Bears? My God. BetOnline has you covered with the best odds, the biggest promotions. You can do live in-game betting. Yes, in-game. You like something you see, you want to get after it, do that on all your favorite teams. This season, every game matters. BetOnline has every stat matchup breakdown, live odds to bet during the game, not just the NBA, everything from football. The World Series is happening, NHL, political props. If you want to get into that nightmare, head to the website today. Get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering, BetOnline. The game starts here. So there's two big moments, right? Is the offense is kind of stuck in the mud, defense doing its job. You got a safety. Josh Harris, best long snapper in the league. A weird moment for him to have an errant snap. There's the Justin Herbert run, 38 yards, career long. Or not, yeah, I think it was. Yes, career long. Lowers his shoulder, trucks Tyrann Mathieu, gets up, huge emotion, points the first down, you know. And then, of course, there's the inexplicable. Well, you know what? Let's start with that. What does something like that do, Lo? When your quarterback, you know, the offense isn't working, and not only does he run like that, but he initiates contact, he gets up. Like, what does that do for the offense?
I think when you see this offense and understanding what this offense should be, this is Justin Herbert saying, you know what? I'm going to put it on me. I'm going to put this on my back, and I'm going to show you guys what I can do when I'm not supposed to do, but I'm going to show you that I can do it, and I'm going to do it with joy. And not only am I going to do it with joy, I'm going to show you guys how I can go from a quarterback to a running back to a tight end to a speedster. I mean, you saw him. He split the two defenders. It looked like he was going to get tackled, Money, and you saw him just turn on that extra gear and say, no, it's not happening, and see him explode. And then instead of going out of bounds, he takes on the honey badger and says, bam, drops the shoulder, gets up. When you have plays like that, if you're on the sideline, you saw every person on the sideline, the defense, the coaches, everyone jump up. Offense, you're like, this is our leader. This is the guy that as he goes, we go. If he doesn't go, we don't go. I don't care how well the defense does. You have to have Justin Herbert play at a high level for this team to get where they need to get, for this team to be successful. So when you see that guy do that, when he went into the booth real quick and threw on that cape and said, okay, I'm going to turn into Superman and show you guys something. I think that ignited the crowd, not only the crowd, but even though didn't necessarily score, it just gave the team the energy it needed to say, let's get going.
Yeah. And it was first 2 drives, 6 plays, 0 yards, and they were down 2-0. Like that's how bad this thing started. And then all of a sudden, this offense has not had a lot of explosive plays.
No.
So that's an explosive, it's a run of 10 yards or more, and it's a run of 38 yards. That's what I was double checking while you were talking to make sure I had that right. Cause I was like, yeah, I know it's definitely season high, but no, it's a career long. That's the longest run in Justin Herbert's career, 38 yards. And you got those extra 2 yards because you lowered the shoulder and didn't slide and decided to take on the Hall of Famer, Tyrann Mathieu, the future Hall of Famer. So that's one. And obviously, where I'm going with the second one. Nathan Shepard should be kicked out of the league. He should be suspended a game for what he did. That is inexplicable. That is not trying to hurt, or give someone a little extra shot, make sure that ankle is fine. That's trying to injure somebody. And you're trying to take him to the ground by twisting it. And if Justin Herbert doesn't pull Bradley Bozeman off him, he might still be pounding his head into the ground. Bozeman was going to kill him. I mean, he was going to kill him. And I don't know if you saw the video. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Money. You saw he already got rid of the ball. It was a great shovel pass, by the way. And you see the running back, Dobbs, able to pick up the first and run hard. But I'm glad the officials, he had that ankle and that knee, and the way that he torqued it and lift, and Justin has to surrender his body. Right. If he doesn't, it's going to snap. And it was great to see the offense lineman come in there and jump. And you should. That's the way you're supposed to protect your quarterback. I wish everyone would have got when you do that to someone, he should be suspended. He should lose a game check, because that was malice, and that was with the intent to hurt this guy. And it's no place. I understand you're trying to get a guy down, but the plays away from you. He already released the ball. There's no need for that in the National Football League. It's hard to stay healthy in this league, and it's hard to stay, especially when you're a quarterback. For him to do that, that's just it's unchangeable, unmutable. You're just pissed.
Yeah, and I can see it, and hear it in your voice. If you got to watch the post game, the locker room, and the game balls, and as soon as Harbaugh's dishing them out, he barely gets out, and everybody starts screaming Bozeman, and they sing for "He's a Jolly Good Fellow." Like, it was awesome to see the way that they respond. And look, and that was a big moment. And even though the penalties then offset, instead of getting you 15 yards on top of the first down, who cares, man? They reset, they picked up the first down anyway. And man, after that, off to the races. From that moment on, every other possession finished with a score. It was touchdown, punt, field goal, punt, touchdown, punt, touchdown. Like, they got rolling, man. And that's I think a huge moment. Especially Bozeman's been, it's been a bit of a struggle for him, and that interior line. The tackles have been great. And by the way, I do want to mention, you said everybody should get in on that. Slater gave Shepard a shot and a half about a 2 series later. Like, hey, you're back out here, huh? I didn't forget. And he gave him a shot. And it got real chippy out there.
I got to see that part.
Oh yeah. It was pretty great. But I think that's great. And I hope that's something that can help, Bradley kind of get rolling, because the interior was a little rough again. That's where the sack came from. And I think between Zion, Bradley, and Trey, they're still trying to get that chemistry right. They're passing guys off and trying to find stunts. And it just seems like they keep getting these guys. And that's the one thing that I think, it's got to be cleaned up.
I'm with you on that. I watched it, and I kind of watched it this morning. I even watched the game again and kind of watched Zion kind of sit heavy and get kind of over his pads.
Yeah.
And he just kind of laxed, and he was able to get that inside move and able to give up a sack. And he's in great position, and all of a sudden he just kind of get lulled to sleep there and gets bent, and boom, inside move. And you just saw the offensive line and the receivers at time. Look, they played better. We played way better. Big plays, like you talked about. But we got to point out, Justin's taking too many shots, Money. You saw they have a blitz. The safety's coming down. He walks down in the box. The receiver, when it's 2 to your side, the running back's on that side. So he's got the linebacker and the safety. So it's a hot read. So the receiver looks over there and he points, okay, bam, it's 2 guys. If the both 2, you got to side adjust and come off your route and break it off. And you saw Justin just bam, looking for the guy to break off, and boom, he takes that untimely hit and an unnecessary hit. So they got it, like you said. you played good. We're so happy this Charger team won.
Yeah.
But there's some things that you have to clean up to protect your quarterback because he took some hits and breakdown in protection. Like you said, you got to get cleaner if you're going to, keep this guy healthy because he means so much to your offense.
Yeah. And I think, I think there's a couple. Well, how about this? So, one, it's weird when you look at it because you know how good the tackles are. It's probably the best tackle tandem in the league. And yet you look and you're like, wait a minute. So he's under pressure at the fourth most rate in the NFL, fourth highest rate in the NFL. He's under pressure 40% of the time. Passer rating under pressure 58.6, clean pocket 112. That's the difference. If you can keep him clean, he is going to carve guys up. But yeah, it's really strange, kind of why it's so leaky when you've got tackles that are that good and you can't quite figure it out. So that's, they won 26-8 by 18 points. So I don't want to harp too much on that.
Right.
What I do want to mention, because to me, like this is one of the big takeaways, Lo, is just how guys corrected. Coming out of that game against Arizona, heard about missed tackles and how Dak was able to get physical with them and break some tackles and, kind of churn some clock and lead to touchdowns. And they did not allow. Kamara had a couple, but not many. And there was a moment when Tarheeb squared him up, 5th-round rookie, just form tackle, man. And you saw really the only one mistake was, from Bud, who was just trying to do a little too much. He's trying to strip that ball out of Kamara's hands. And instead of just tackling him, we would have tackled him probably for a 1-yard loss. Instead, he's trying to get that extra little turnover that they had been looking for, and he breaks off for 24 yards, And so that's one. So that gets cleaned up. McConkey had 2 drops, 6 targets, 6 catches, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. He cleaned that up. Cam Hart gets the personal foul penalty against Marvin Harrison Jr. There's that moment Olave has the big pass. You know what? Didn't pull back. Just managed to keep the head up. Popped him real good with that shoulder, trying to break that thing up. He corrects. So it's good to see those guys, say after the game, hey, this is what went wrong. This is what we got to work on. And they all worked on it. They all got it fixed. How about Jalen Reagor? That's a catch of his career.
Yeah.
And the first catch, he had 2 catches, Lo. I thought of you. First catch, right sideline. What's he do? Catch, bang, right hand. Immediately. So it's like, there's your correction. And then that downfield catch on a 3rd down, man, I'm not kidding. When I say that's probably the best catch of his career, I mean, that's probably the best catch of his career.
Keep his feet in bounds, the toe tap, and go come in bounds. That was friggin' unbelievable. Clinic like, but you saw him catch the ball, put it away, outside shoulder. Okay, let me correct this up. And then you saw Palmer. Palmer makes some huge timely catches. They're like, wow, watch this. Even the big fella, the fullback, got in the action and said, let me catch on the sideline. You watch, and then he goes on defense and gets a sack. And watching this guy play special teams, I gave him a game ball. That's what because he played well on defense. He had some crucial blocks on offense. Yeah, and he's getting better. This guy's moved to fullback. He's a D lineman, and watching him get better at that position, and he's going to continue to improve. But they're using him. They need him. And then on defense, comes in and make plays. But the receivers, you saw them step up. Guys stepped up because they've been having a lot of drops. Still, the tight end goes down the middle of the field. Yeah. That one just hit him. Money. He was like, I was like, I thought about you on that one because it was tight end. It was tight end Sunday. It was tight end week.
It was tight end day.
Drops that one that he still would be running. So you still saw you left a lot on the field, but you were able to correct a lot of things and feel good about the receiving core moving forward.
He's played, and I think it's important to know. Look, Will Dissly's been great. He's been fantastic. He's a heck of a blocker. He's in the conversation as the best blocking tight. If you're talking about a full service tight end, a guy that can catch a handful of passes, to put in perspective what they're asking him to do, he's already got more receptions, 9, more yards, 61, than he had all of last season in Seattle.
Wow.
Like that's what they're asking him to do. They signed Hayden Hurst essentially to be that pass catching tight end and Will to be the blocking tight end. And every now and then he gets open and now they're asking him to be George Kittle. They're asking him to basically, we need you to block on all these run plays. But then turns out you're Justin's favorite target. You had 11 targets last week. He had 22 targets last year in 16 games. He had 11 last week. So I think it's important. Like, Will can set up for those screens and he can get those spot routes. But when you're putting Will on a wheel and he's now got to track a ball over his shoulder and extend, it's like, it just, I think for people that want to give him some credit, I think it's important to remember,
what
like,
he's
he's not
done,
Hunter
what
Henry.
he's done.
He's they're asking Will. He is going to blow his career high receptions, 34. He's got 26 already. Career high yards, 349. He's already got 235. Like, so they're asking a lot from Will than what he's ever been asked to do before.
And you saw him, though. He put the hands in the right spot. He you know what? I think he's going to get better. And like you're saying, they're asking him to do more than what he usually does. But you know what? Opportunity is never lost money. It's just given to somebody else. He's taken advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah.
This young man will, he struggled at times, but the screens, he's great. He's going to continue to broaden his game. And this is going to help this young man because they like him. You like I said, they love he can run in, but he's a great run blocker. They like him on the screens. He's physical when he catches the ball, yards. He pulls the crowd, does a lot of great things. So here's a guy just hasn't been given the opportunity to be showcased. And now he's in this Charger offense where most tight ends, you look at Mahomes, you look at great quarterbacks, Brady, Gronk. Great quarterbacks, they always had a tight end, a safety blanket. You look at George Kittle, quarterback. He's got to go to Kittle. You saw what he did last night.
Yeah.
It's imperative to have a good tight end, and he's going to have the opportunity to round into being that guy, or in the future, they're going to draft someone. But I think that Disley has the ability. He can get open, even though, like you said, he hasn't been in this position. But look what he's doing. He's finding a way to get open for Justin to be able to go to him. So he's showing you that he's capable of handling. So I'm pulling for the guy.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, and it's the trust is implicit. You see it. It's money downs, and he's looking for Will. I'll say, Dennis Allen and his staff, that there was one thing they weren't going to give up, and it was screens. Screen game got blown up the whole game. I think they watched what they were doing to Arizona and how effective those plays were. And Pete Werner he basically was a spy for the screen game. And Will couldn't get it going. Dobbins couldn't get it going. And I think once they moved, and I think give a little bit of thanks. Thank you, Dennis Allen, because I believe that was still the plan. That's how they were going to attack. And this, because they took it away and they kept, clocking those things for negative plays or wasted downs. It's what forced this explosive vertical passing game to show up. And all of a sudden, now you got these verticals. You got a vertical to Rager. You got a vertical to Disley, even though it, went through his fingertips. Vertical down fast, a 25, 35-yard pass to Josh Palmer. Ladd McConkey, for 60 yards. Like, it forced them to maybe get out of a comfort zone and what they want to do and how they want to play with this dominant defense and just protect the ball at all costs. Cut it, man. Just let it fly. This guy he is such a precision passer on deep passes that you're not putting the ball in danger. He puts it exactly where it needs to be. Yeah, you're going to have a pick every now and then, but whatever. Look at it like a punt when you're pushing it that far down the field. Like, he is so good. Those balls are exactly where they need to be every single time. That long run from Ladd, it's just right in stride, man. And you allow that guy to put that 4.3 speed to use. So kind of happy that the screen game got taken away, because that's what they were going to early. And it forced them to push downfield. And you look at Herbert, 20 for 32, 279, his average, 8.7. I mean, that thing just shot through the roof. It was his best game by far. His QB rating was 111.3. I mean, and it was because of the vertical passing game.
Oh, yeah. And the way that he was threading the needle, like you said, you talked about earlier how Herbert can carve you up. That pass that he goes to McConkey in between coverage and just like drops it into the breadbasket. And all you got to do is run. The sideline pass to Rager, the one to Palmer. Those balls were just, you couldn't ask for it in a better spot. It was just, wow, amazing. And I was watching them pass. You saw the defense start to back up. They got them on their heels. They start doing them and take advantage. And I was just surprised, though, Money, that the running game, hard as Dobbins was running, breaking tackles in the second and third effort and spinning and just running through arm tackles, just still seems like something's missing in the run game. At times, the defense was set to run against, and still just guys taking turns, just not sustaining the block, guys getting in the way, because Dobbins ran angry yesterday, very hard, turning his legs, and still didn't really have the game that, that you would think that he was having, especially with the effort that he was putting out there.
Yeah, no doubt. You look at it, and he runs 17 times for 57 yards in the touchdown, long of 13. Got involved a little bit in the pass game, 4 receptions out there. Yeah, I think look, I don't think you hit it right on the head. There's one missed block on every one of those, and it's a safety, it's a linebacker. There was one that was set up so perfectly, and I'm not even going to mention the names, but it was a run to the left. You had the puller, had the fullback, everybody gets sealed off, and there's just one miss. And that miss led to the linebacker coming right through. And it's like, oh, that thing was going to go, man. That thing was going to go 40. And and that's
Dobbin saw it too. He was like, he got up like, come on.
Exactly. And so I think that's what's important for people that are like, do we need to go out and get a different running back? No, man, you're talking about 5, 6 pieces that all have to execute perfectly for those runs to spring. And when you just have one miss, it destroys it all. If you have good defenders, and we know, it's one of the better. The defense has not been good this year, but the Saints have always hung their hat on that defense and what Dennis Allen does. And you miss one, and that's what happens. What you don't miss are these beautiful hats that we're wearing today. Melin, Melin, we love them. Durable, 5 times longer is what they last than any other hat. This is the hydro, which means it goes in the water and it still maintains its shape perfectly. That means if you sweat a lot, you expect to get the little sweat salt line here, like you see in the World Series right now. Those guys got their lucky hats. No, it doesn't show up because it's sweat proof. It's basically it's antimicrobial properties. That way the sweat doesn't break down the hat. No stains, no smell. Again, they have different types. This is the one that's for the water, so it's the hydro. Right now with winter upon us, for those of you in colder climates, they have a full thermal collection. It's melin.com. We love that they're sponsoring the pod because we love their products. We love wearing them. So check that out. I hate doing this, Lo, because but I think I can do it because it was a win and it was a dominant win. But every now and then you get an officiating crew that does such a poor job that you applaud the team for overcoming it. And they had a lot to overcome in that game. Just some huge missed calls. One, just call it a touchdown for Fehoko so it can go to replay. Because you call it a touchdown, and the back judge was about to, it was right in front of where we call the games. And the back judge was I saw him starting to come over to the field judge. And I was like, oh, I think he's going to call it a touchdown. And that way it can get to review because I think he got that foot in. And they don't. And Harbaugh already lost a challenge, which, by the way, call it interception on Molden. And then that way it goes to automatic review and he doesn't have to throw the challenge flag. And I do think it was an interception. He had that thing tucked. And I wish, when I worked at NFL Network, we would have the head of officiating come in and talk to us every year about things that they're emphasizing. And I wish I still worked there so I could say to him, hey, can you make a point of emphasis to these guys? Call it a turnover, call it a touchdown. And then that way it just goes to review. And we don't have to play these games because that's the only reason why Harbaugh did not challenge the Fehoko touchdown is he had already lost one. He didn't want to lose his last one in case something serious came up. And it was a touchdown. You can see the toe drag and black pellets come up. But I think it was still like, they didn't call it a touchdown on the field. Is that enough? And it's just, so there's that. I want to make sure I get you in here because I'm talking too much. There was the hit on Herbert on the sideline by Tyrann Mathieu that cracked him right into a coach and bent him forward. Throw a flag on it. And then there's the face mask. There's 3 officials standing there in the end zone. He gets a face mask, which prevents him from rolling out. It's just a mess by that crew.
It really was. And you thought that they would try to do better, but it just seemed like it kept going. It kept digging a hole. The touchdown was so easy to see. He catches the ball. His catches with one leg already in, and he drags it, and you see the back foot hit. And it's like, wow, this is a touchdown. And you're like, wow, are they not going to say anything? It's like, no, I'm surprised the officials didn't get together and say, let's just take a look at this. Exactly. And the Herbert out of bounds, he takes off running on the Charger sideline. It totally hits him out of bounds. It sits him on his hip, drops him. It's 2 feet out of bounds. It's not even close. I just was kind of shocked that even though, because I've seen officials throw late flags. You see sometimes at times like, okay, God, I missed. Let me go ahead and make it right. And it just didn't happen. Luckily, the Chargers went on to score on that drive, because they got the next play, a penalty on the 1 yard line. So it moved it down there. And then we got in the end zone. But, You can't. You're in a big game. You're playing against the Chiefs, or you're playing against a team that's good. That'll cost you a football game.
Yeah.
And those are things you can't overcome. It's hard to get in the end zone, especially in the red zone. So those things, I do Bleav that the officials missed it, and hopefully the league sits down with those guys and say, hey, you guys rated out really bad. You guys had some horrible calls, because we can't have that, because it's already the game's integrity's online.
Yeah, the thing, and it's protecting the quarterback, right? So there's two things on that play. Number one, here's the sideline. Here's Herbert. He's running perpendicular. He's already given himself up. He is not trying to gain any yardage. So that's like my biggest issue with it, is he's not pump faking. Right. He's not running up the sideline. He has already broken off his run, and he's running parallel. He's like, yeah, I'm giving myself up. That's where the flag's got to be thrown. And the second part of that is, shame on you, Patrick Mahomes, because this is your fault. It's all your fault with your stupid, I'm going to pretend like I'm stepping out of bounds, and I'm going to get 10 more yards. I'm going to pump fake. You're going to get a quarterback killed because of that. And they're going to say, well, you see what Patrick does. Someone needs to knock his block off and get him to stop doing that, because it leads to defenders hitting quarterbacks on the sideline, because they see that and they think that everyone's going to do it. And maybe it'll be the first week of December, and it can be Daiyan Henley like a freaking missile, just teaching that guy a lesson that you have got to stop doing that. It's not cool. It's bad form. It's bad karma. And it's gaming the system, and it's not okay. And I think that leads to guys taking those shots and saying, well, he's Herbert. He already took off for 36 yards. You do know it's parallel. He's given himself up, and it should have been a flag. Going back to the semi play that you talked about at the 1 yard line, just right. Tip of the cap to him, right? Here's a guy that knows, okay, I'm on the sideline. I see the ball. I got to work my body into this defender, because that's how I'm going to get the flag. If I just kind of run parallel, that flag's not coming. But now, as I try to break back toward the ball, I'm putting the officials in a position where they have to throw it, because this guy doesn't know where the ball is. He's not tracking it. I am. And just, I want to mention, like, kudos to Simi for savvy, for being a savvy receiver and knowing how to draw that flag.
They did a good job of just like, okay, let me help my quarterback. Let me bail my quarterback out, or let me put myself in a position for the quarterback can trust me. McConkey in the end zone, the second touchdown. You watch the way that Herbert rolls out. Herbert knows that the defender has his back to him. He throws a high ball. Him and McConkey's on the same page. That play right there, that to me was that one of like, okay, now this is a play. Herbert, the trust, he throws it blindly because the guy's defender, and he knows that McConkey, they have eye contact, and he's like, my man's going to make this catch. The defenders has his back. He catches the ball, and then all of a sudden it's too late. That was an unbelievable play. Unbelievable, Money.
Yeah, you've been talking about it, Lois. Just trust, especially in the red zone, and you can see he's now got that with McConkey. He's definitely got it. And man, that throw, he's on one leg. He's like spread eagle. He's throwing it like this, and defender's in pursuit. He's got the back, and DJ said it on the broadcast. He's like, hey man, if you're a defender in the red zone and your back's to Herbert, you're in trouble. You are trouble. You know you're in trouble, because he's going to let that thing fly. And now it's on the receiver to make the play. And man, McConkey had himself a day, right? 2 touchdowns, matching his season. 2 touchdowns just in a single game, over 100 yards, perfect 6 for 6 on the targets and the receptions. And it's coming together. I would have loved to see DJ Chark out there, to see what that looks like with the trade deadline. Hey, we said it here, man. And DJ kept saying it on the broadcast. He's like, oh, how good would Olave look, man? How good would Olave look in a Charger uniform? And I would love to just say, hey, man, go ahead, just leave him here. Go ahead, leave Olave here. We'll go ahead and take care of that. He was asking, and he said that, he was told that it's very, very unlikely that, even though they're 2-6, they've lost 6 in a row, that they would move Olave, but they got serious salary cap issues. He's up for an extension. He's going to be the next big money receiver. I would assume you can get him for 2, and he is a legitimate number 1 receiver. He does it all. He is fast. He's an incredible route runner. He gets off press. He wins 50-50 balls. Like, he's a true number 1. And I would gladly pay a premium to put him in the mix and see how that whole thing.
You're getting your
Just
Christmas list in already. I hear you throwing that Christmas
man,
list. You're like, I want him. This is what we want.
yeah.
I am.
He took that
With all
shot
due
from
respect,
he took that shot from Cam Hart and held on to that ball all the way to the
he
ground.
did.
Like, he's tough. Like, he's
He
everything, man. He's it.
He is. He was able to get both feet down, get to make a football move, and he took a shot into the ball. His back hit the ground, and the ball came out. That was a big time shot, and the guy got up. I like Olave too. You know what I tell you, played well too. Poona Ford, the big man in the D Ford, the big D lineman. He's in the interior, watching him with his hands and how he's meeting guys, spin move for a big man in the middle. Money, I thought he graded out very, very high.
Oh, yeah.
He was in the backfield for sacks against the run. I love his hand movement. I love how he can swim, beat the guard, beat a tackle. It's a big man who moves well. I thought he played exceptionally well for the defensive front.
How about this? Like, you look at Poona and had a sack, right? First sack of the season, I think, for Poona, right? Didn't he get a sack in that game?
Yeah,
I feel
yes,
like
he did. Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
positive.
he had the sack. So first sack of the season, Poona Ford, 56% of pass rushes, he is double teamed. That is second in the NFL. That's what that dude deals with to free up those edges. And that's A. Two, incredible run stuffer.
Yes.
C, he is incredible with his hands. If he can't get there, he's got
batting balls down.
3 passes defense this season already as an interior lineman. And that then translates over to Teair Tart. What a signing, man. You see Teair with that wingspan to get that fingertip on that pass. He's been incredible. You know what? You mentioned how they graded out. I got the game here. Let me
Why are you pulling it up? Why are you pulling it up? I'm gonna talk about Mac. Mac was unbelievable. Mac got pissed off. Number 70 was talking junk and pushed him on one of the plays. I don't know if you saw it, but Mac went into Powell and he pushed Mac into Powell. Mac goes and grabbed him. Mac didn't want to get a penalty. He grabbed him, like, turned him around. Hey, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. The next play, he makes the guy hold him. He's starting to spin it. Mac put on a clinic with 71 and no parts money. He tapped out. He said, I don't want this guy. I'm sorry, Mr. Mac. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Trevor Penning's got an issue with holding. And I was talking to your former teammate, Nick Hardwick, before the game, and he had mentioned, I said, we were chatting about the O-line, and I had mentioned that. He's like, he goes, we study the officiating crews. He goes, this crew throws a lot of flags for holding. So, and sure enough, 3 holding calls on that offensive line of the Saints. Lucas Patrick got 2 and Penning got 1. So here's your deal. You got Khalil, 4 pressures, and the sack. You had Bud had 2, Poona had 2. Thule is the unsung hero because he had 4, and he got he got a sack, but he also ran someone else into a sack. So there's that. It was pretty darn great, man. I gotta say, my gosh, I don't know what PFF does with these things, how they come up with this stuff. Anyway.
How did Bosa grade out for you? Because I know it's the first return of Bosa. What did he look like to you? And kind of
he looked like he was shaking some rust off. Looked like he was shaking, but you could see the power. You see the power back out there and just putting guys on skates. So yeah, what did he play? 17 pass rushes. So, and then I don't know what was going on, but he was on the sideline on a knee at one point. So I'm just hoping he's okay. And Khalil came off late holding that left hand that was already taped up. So hoping that's all right as well. But yeah, those guys, they play. How about Teair, man? I mentioned Teair. He has been such a huge addition. His pressure rate, 17% win percentage on his pass rushes as an interior lineman, man. He's so good. Like I keep singing his praises, but man, it's such a big signing for them to be able to get him. I don't know what Miami was thinking, cutting him loose or why that happened that way, but whatever. Worked out for the Chargers. Yeah, he's been a huge addition. And that's just the interior of the line, same with Tito. Tito unfortunately had the, not the smartest play. You don't want to hit a guy when he's that far out of bounds. You're going to get a flag, but he's been great. Morgan Fox has been great. Like that. It really is the kind of unsung, the unsung group of what's helping this defense maintain number 1 in their points per game dropped. They were at 13.8 and they only allowed 6. They're going to get tagged for the extra 2 on the safety, but like that's the unsung heroes of the group. Those are the unsung heroes of the group of how this thing is working so well.
Oh, no question. I just think that the defensive unit as a whole, like you said, they're just playing good fundamentally football. Yeah, they had a couple breakdowns in coverages. We saw some of the things happen, but Hainer threw some unbelievable passes. I mean, sometimes in double coverage where the safety's coming down, and I
Yeah.
don't know how he threaded the ball in there. So it was some
I knew you were
plays
gonna.
that you
I knew you were
saw.
gonna celebrate your guy. I knew.
No,
It
no,
just,
no, 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 it wasn't.
yeah, you have
Money,
to. Why is that guy
money,
not starting? Like, hey, he should be the
I know
starter.
he
It
should.
makes no sense.
It makes no sense, but I was happy about what we did to San Jose, the Bulldogs. As I
There you go.
digress, since we're going about some
Yeah.
Fresno, we took care of San Jose, and a happy shout out to Skipper. It's crazy because I'm going to take you on a circus here. Kelly Skipper, when I was at Fresno State, was my running back coach. I watched him play when I was in high school. Then he goes to be a GA, and he's my running back coach, right? I get drafted. He talks to his dad. I get drafted to the Saints and play for Jim Skipper. During Christmas time and all the times, because I'm a rookie, I don't have my family there. I would go to Jim Skipper's house for Christmas.
Right.
His son Timmy Skipper is like in the 6th grade, so I'm eating lunch, breakfast, and hanging out at that house because we're like family. And now he goes to Fresno State, and now he's the head coach there. So it's crazy how things. 3 guys, father, 2 sons. That it's crazy how we're all intertwined.
Absolutely. Hey, man, that green V, right? Any place, anywhere, anytime, or anyone, anywhere. What is it? Anywhere, any place,
anywhere,
anytime.
any place. Yeah,
Exactly right.
Exactly
Right. The old Pat Hill. It's funny. So I was watching that game. I was at my friend's house, and he's got 5 TVs. World Series is on one, so it's Tim DeRuyter's brother. So I'm friends with Matt.
Yeah.
So
okay,
so
yeah.
Matt, So Matt always.
Hello, yeah.
So he's always got the Fresno State game on. So we were watching that. It was really cool. But yeah, I've always loved lock up the Central Valley. Make sure you keep those kids home and get Fresno State to be viable.
Exactly. Now we got to get the Chargers any place, anytime, and keep this thing rolling because this was a freaking huge win for them, especially after losing Arizona. They beat a team that was desperate. They found a way, and now who's next?
Cleveland.
And let's go.
Yeah, Cleveland. Do yourself a favor, everybody. Track down all of the Jameis Winston interviews because they're the greatest things in the history of the world.
What did he lick his fingers? What did he do? Tell me about this one.
You first of all, after Deshaun Watson gets hurt and people are cheering, his soliloquy about Watson is one of the greatest things. He's wearing Gunther Cunningham glasses, the yellow glasses. He's got this weird kind of brown mock turtleneck sweater on, and he's doing a standard Jameis, just going in 900 directions, describing why he's so upset about this. And it's his delivery. He's like, that man, he works hard. He's working hard, and he's working hard for the people of this city. For the people of this city, he works hard. Like, it's just so good.
I gotta watch it because Jameis is absolutely. He's crazy. I love it. He means well, though. You've seen him. Oh, you've seen him do all this crazy, like licking his fingers. So I got to watch some of these interviews.
Oh, yeah. The pregame, he's just doing he's basically just saying faith, the Lord. But every time he delivers the line, he'd look at Amanda Balionis was the sideline person. And so she's saying, how do you feel? He goes, so he would talk to her. So here we go. I'm looking at her and it's like, she goes, ultimate faith in the Lord, just release myself. And I give myself to him, ultimate faith in the Lord. And he would look at the camera. It's incredible.
I get it.
It's
We're
incredible.
Not talking about, it's just funny. So I don't want people
amazing. So I cannot wait to be out. Now, look, I'll say this. This is incredible, right? You want to talk about like the Browns and how bad it's been with Deshaun Watson. 19 starts, 0 300-yard games. Jameis Winston, 1 start, leads the league in passing for the week. 330, 3 tugs, a win over Baltimore. Like,
he was spinning it.
It's a good team. It's that the defense is arguably the best corner tandem in the league with Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. You got Myles Garrett on the freaking defensive line. He's the best edge rusher in the league. Like, that's not an easy game. And by getting that win, you may have halted moving Newsome, moving Njoku. They still might do it, but that's a talented team, man. Njoku's a legitimate top 5 tight end in this league. You still got Jerry Jeudy there. We know what kind of player he is, and he was back at it. He had 5 or 6 catches, I think. So it's important, I think, to remember, this Browns team, yes, the record doesn't look great. Just going to the box score right now. Oh, Cedric Tillman, 7 for 99 and 2 tugs. And Njoku, 5 for 61 and a touchdown. Elijah Moore, that's what I was thinking of. Great slot receiver. Never looked at with Deshaun there. 8 for 85. Guys spreading it around, man. And you got Nick Chubb, who's back in the backfield.
Yeah. Where's the game at? Where are they playing that one?
Cleveland. We're going to Cleveland.
Well, that's gonna be like you said, that's gonna be a tough out.
Easy one.
Not an easy one. You know what I like about this game though is the other guys, the guys like Khalil Mack, because of the fact he knows, like you talked about Myles Garrett, who he is. Everyone in Khalil Mack, he rises, and it's interesting to see how Bosa and all those guys rise to the occasion because of the fact when you're a player, and I knew when I was playing against Tony Richardson, about Sam Gash, and I'm like, okay, these are other fullbacks. You remember Sam was nasty. Now, when I knew that I was playing and there's going to be fullbacks, and back in the day, they were like, okay, they would highlight me. I'd get to go in there and talk to the guys on Saturday night. They're like, we want to talk low. Because it was awesome as a fullback. You're going in those production meetings.
Oh, yeah.
And how are you blowing up guys like this? And we're going to feature you and Sam. So I think this is the same type of thing when you see a guy like Khalil Mack, a little older. People are talking about Myles Garrett. Here's a guy, he's going to say, you know what? I know who Myles Garrett is. Happy that guy, he's elite. But don't forget about the old fella. So I'm excited to watch these two defenses show their dominance.
Yeah, I'll tell you. You go through it, and I mentioned it's all. I forgot about JOK. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, exceptional linebacker. Okoronkwo is out there. Devin Bush is out there at the linebacker position. They got Zadarius Smith. I forgot he came down.
Some players.
That's a good defense, man. It is a good defense. And now that Nick Chubb's getting healthy, Stefanski knows how to call offense. I know a lot of people have been on him, but that's the Deshaun Watson thing destroyed him. Just destroyed the team, man. You stick with Baker or you just figure some other path to take, and you were in a lot better position. There's a lot of talent on that team. So not going to be easy, but still part of this stretch where, and I'll just kind of say this, Lo, it's the AFC is not great. It's just not. It's wide open, man. It is wide open. And as it stands today, Chargers in the playoffs, in that 7 spot at 4-3, behind Denver, who just happens to have an extra game because they haven't had their bye yet, 5-3, but you got the win over them. So you win the tiebreaker there. So that puts you in the 6th spot. They get to play Baltimore in 4 weeks. So, they're the other team that's ahead of them. Unfortunately, they play in a division with the one team that's, undefeated, 6-0. So, or what? Yeah, 6-0, I think is what they are. 7-0.
Yeah, 7-0. They beat the Raiders.
So that's exactly. So exactly. They beat the Raiders. So yeah, that's the only issue is unfortunately you happen to play in the one division where teams kind of got it buttoned up. But Buffalo 6-2, not afraid of them. Houston 6-2, not afraid of them. Pittsburgh 5-2. We saw how it looked when they didn't have their tackles, and Justin Herbert had a busted up ankle, still had a 10-0 lead on him before it just finally caught up with you. But it's open, man. It is wide open for the taking. I just, I kind of, I really feel that way. So let's get to Cleveland. Let's get after it and see if, oh yeah, there you go. Lindsay reminding me the post game with Jameis. He says, there's a white man from Detroit. And I love what he says when he says, you only get one shot, one opportunity. But yeah, but the way he describes it, he says, there's a white man from Detroit. It's so good.
I can send me this interview. Lindsay, you got to send me this. Oh, my God. I mean, it's got to see these cuts. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, Maybe we need to give him, man. He's the best. He's
oh my God, I'm gonna watch him. Maybe we need to give him some of your. Maybe we need to give him a little bit of that. That good juice that we drink.
Oh yeah.
Every night that you steal it from the team.
Got my pouch, my Cherubundi. This one's called The Ritual. I love it. It's 100% tart cherry juice. It is here. You can see it. And
there we go.
I drink it because it's recovering because it was rough seas out there today. The waves are pretty big. Got my body thrown around a little bit. Got hammered on the inside a couple times, so got tossed around. Little A over T's. few times there under the water. So want to make sure I recover, and I do that with the Cheribundi. We appreciate them. Every NFL team uses it. I'm going to Cleveland. I got to spend 2 nights in a hotel. You better believe I'm going to snatch up that Cheribundi with melatonin, especially if I got to get up early and hit the road and go to Michigan, Oregon, because I'm thinking about going to the Big House. It's about a 2.5-hour drive on Saturday. If we can get that thing lined up, I think we may end up doing that. It'd be awful fun.
Do it.
Exactly.
Do it.
Exactly. I thought about Akron versus Buffalo, but it doesn't quite have the same sort of mystique. As much as I love that Maction, I'm going to probably go ahead and do Oregon at the Big House. So need a good night's sleep. Need to make sure I'm fresh and ready to drive from Cleveland to Ann Arbor and back in the same day, about 6 hours on the road for about 3 hours in the Big House. And tart cherries, highest antioxidant. Chargers use it. So does every other NFL team. 10 of the last 11 Super Bowl champions use it and take it with them. So not to mention 66 of the 67 Power 4 conference football teams. So maybe I'll get a pouch when I'm up at Michigan if I can get myself a credential.
Let's do it.
I don't think I can. Going as a fan. White man just outside of Detroit is what I will be.
I love it. I'm going to definitely go watch these. I have to.
Oh, yeah, you have to. They're great. Everybody watch them. Keep commenting on the YouTube. I know I've been bad, derelict in my duties in trying to engage with you people. I apologize, but I promise I will for this one. We'll get in there in the comments. And what else? Podcast. Rate, review, and subscribe and tell your friends. We appreciate you. The thing's growing. Chargers are playing some good football, and always great to knock this out with you, Lo.
You're the best, man. We're the best.
Oh, and the music. It's my daughter that wrote the sweet rock and roll riff at the start of this whole thing. You can check her out at Just Prestyn with a Y on TikTok and Prestynsmithmusic on Instagram. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. And we'll be back next week, hopefully talking about another win.
No worries. Cheers.